guys, it's Zung, and today we are making another classic cookie that even your grandma will love. We're making chewy oatmeal raisin cookies with a few interesting mixes in there. Okay, I'm gonna start by browning up my butter because trust me, a regular oatmeal raisin cookie is just meh, but this takes it to the next level. I'm starting with some good butter. You can use your favorite butter, so equivalent to 1 stick, 4 ounces, and I'm just gonna turn the heat on to medium high. Whenever I'm making cookies to balance out the overwhelmingly sweet cookies, I always use salted butter. A lot of people use unsalted, but trust me on this. So I'm gonna let my butter melt all the way down. So once it starts to bubble like this, you'll notice that all the white layer on top starts to sink down. If it's bubbling too rapidly, just go ahead and turn the heat down to like medium so it doesn't burn as quickly. But definitely keep a watchful eye on this because it tends to turn pretty fast. Also, you'll know that it's almost ready when you see it going from big bubbles to tiny little bubbles. Yeah, once it starts to look kind of foamy with those tiny little bubbles, that's when I start to scrape the bottom, and you'll notice the little specks of brown butter. And that's what's gonna make the cookies taste so good. This looks pretty perfect to me, so now I'm just gonna let it cool over there while I work on my dry ingredients. I'm gonna start by adding just some regular old-fashioned oats. They're called rolled oats or regular old-fashioned. Don't use quick oats because those tend to kind of get mushy when you bake them up, and you wanna like get good oaty cookies here. And then some all-purpose flour, our spice. So if you guys ever buy those pumpkin pie spice, this is your opportunity to use it. I like it because it has all of the warming spices like cloves, ginger, nutmeg already in there. But if you want to just keep it simple, just use cinnamon and nutmeg, and I'll write the recipe out in the description box below. Now I'm also going to be adding in our raisins, and then I always like to add like another interesting elements because oatmeal raisin can be kind of boring. So I like to add either like nuts or chocolate chips. So today we are adding chocolate chunks. Now I'll just give it a mix. This looks great. Now moving on to the rest of the ingredients. Now in a bowl, I'm gonna add my sugars. I'm using a combination of brown sugar and white sugar here. As you noticed, I have a lot more brown sugar, which will help make the cookies a lot more chewy. So I'm gonna add it to a bowl, and then some regular white sugar or cane sugar, and then we're gonna mix it all up with our brown butter. You wanna make sure to let this cool pretty completely because if you don't, you're gonna be melting the chocolate chips. But if you're not using chocolate chips, then it doesn't really matter. Mix it all up. And don't worry too much if it still looks a little bit gritty. You just wanna break up any large chunks. So now we're gonna add 1 egg, mix it again until it looks like lava. This part is actually pretty crucial. You wanna mix it until like you get no grittiness, where it looks super silky smooth. And if it doesn't, just keep mixing it. So this is the consistency that you're looking for. It's just very thin and runny. Another thing that I want to mention is that you guys should always be using room temperature eggs because if it is cold, it'll solidify the butter and then it won't look like this, and it'll just be harder to mix everything together. So just room temperature is another thing you have to remember. Now we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients. So ever since I showed you guys this trick in my chocolate chip cookies, this is literally the way to go for making any cookies. I always just add the leavening, the salt, and the vanilla extract into the wet ingredients instead of the dry ingredients. So we're gonna add the salt first, our baking soda, and then the vanilla extract right on top of the baking soda to help it activate. Mix it really well. And now we pour in our dry ingredients. Just make sure to get all the loose bits at the bottom because sometimes the oatmeal escapes the batter. Basically just mix it until you don't see any more of like those white flour spots. Okay, so now I have my baking sheet that I've lined with parchment paper. It just helps to keep the sheet pan clean and easier to come off. And then I'm using an ice cream scooper or cookie scoop, and then I'm just gonna form them into like balls onto the cookie sheet. So technically, this recipe makes 12 cookies, but my scoop is on the larger size. It's like a 2-incher. If you were to use a smaller cookie scoop, it will definitely stretch. But I like my cookies a little bit bigger anyways, so we are good. So now we're gonna pop it into the oven that's already been preheated for 350 degrees, and we're gonna bake it up for about 8 to 10 minutes until it's nice and golden brown and delicious. Oh, it smells so yummy and it looks perfect. I love the ones that kind of spread out and you can really see how much oatmeal and raisins you have in each one. But I'm gonna let it cool for about 5 minutes just to kind of firm up, and then we'll give them a try. Okay, so if you notice, the inside is still fairly soft, but that's what's gonna help you get a chewy cookie. Like if it was all cooked, the next day it would just be a hard cookie. So you wanna make it a little bit undercooked so it stays good for the next day if it sticks around for that long. Let's give it a try. It's super balanced. It's not too sweet. You get the raisiny flavor, but it's also very well complemented by our warming spices. And it's just an all-around good, comforting cookie, just like grandma. Not my grandma, but maybe your grandma used to make. I hope you guys enjoyed this classic oatmeal raisin cookie recipe. I have a bunch of other classic recipes like chocolate chip, peanut butter, white chocolate macadamia. Check it out in the description box below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more delicious recipes. I'll see you guys next time.